Rebirth with Rajarshi Nandy. Thank you for being back on TRS, sir.
Yes.
I don't know where to begin this podcast. Thanks for guiding me through this phase, which was predestined in my eyes. Welcome back.
Okay, we start with taking the names of the deities. Jai Ma Kamakhya, Jai Matara, Jai Bhairab Baba.
I mean, the show is now rebooted, and I think people tune in to especially these episodes to just seek deeper conversation.
Right.
But I definitely feel that my spiritual practice went way deeper in these last 2 months because there was so much excess energy, tension, stress, fear for my family's safety.
Right.
All of these things poured themselves into the practice. And before all this happened, I was very, very exhausted with work because we were shooting every day. I remember calling you countless times and like, I don't have energy for you. I got all the energy in the world, and the deities did what they had to do.
In the final equation, yes. So, in the final equation, the whole bottom line gist of devotion to the Devata, to the Ishta Devata, to the deity you worship, is to believe that everything, whether they are directly instrumental or not, regardless of that, without analyzing, कि जो अच्छा हो रहा है, जो बुरा हो रहा है, everything is by their will. If you have faith on them, they can change day to night. They do it because sometimes they do it not in the sense that they actually do anything. It's because it's an attitude of an upasaka. You look at all things that happen in your life, whatever, good or bad, and put it at the feet of Bhairava. Let him guide you. Let him guide the upasaka. Let him take that person upwards, make him stronger. Because the whole purpose of the human birth, and if I take a broad philosophical view, is because we call in the Shastras, we call this as the Mrityu Loka, the plane of death. It is everybody who's born here, leaving aside the avatars of Vishnu, Bhagavan Vishnu, pretty much everybody will make some of the other mistakes. It is natural, it's human to make mistakes. But what is important in the way that the devatas look at it, they don't care so much about the mistakes if you rectify and if you are ready to put in that effort. Then they can open up infinite number of things for you, take you to places that you could not even imagine were possible. Uh, I remember from my own life, years ago, maybe 2000, that was 2012, 13, I passed through a phase of crisis for some period of time. My sadhana, uh, just, I had come back from Kamakhya. In 1 year, I had gone to Kamakhya at least, I think, 7, 8 times, something like that. And I came back and I figured suddenly that some things have happened in my personal life because of which I suddenly found myself without a single friend and sort of booted out of the city of Mumbai. I had to leave hastily, look for a job. I shifted to Pune after that for some period of time. It was a stressful period. I won't go into details. Now, when I look back, the details are irrelevant. But what it did was that the sadhana became far more deeper, much more deeper. Your contact with the deity. Sometimes Sri Aurobindo used to say, pain is a way by which God makes you remember him. Okay, because in happiness nobody remembers. It's all going smooth. It's only when the date is. In fact, look at it this way: if the Ishta Devata is giving you pain, that means he or she wants you to go higher. If he doesn't want you to go higher, he'll give you a lot of riches and all that. Stay happy where you are, and next life you come down. Okay, the cycle goes on. It's not an end. The important thing is have a conscious cognition of what was a mistake and how do I get out of that mistake. This whole sense that my sadhana will become deeper, this is the right attitude, and not just for you, me, anybody. We will make mistakes. When time comes, you go back first and foremost, above all else, you go back to the deity. Above all else, he or she wills it, everything becomes okay. He or she sometimes needs to teach a lesson, and when the lesson has to be taught, it will be taught in the right manner, but without going into details of it. It is not about a specific incident. This is the pattern of life, human life. There is no being in the whole world who has not suffered. It's impossible not to suffer. You are born, you will suffer. There is no doubt about that. I mean, in the Ramayana, we find that Lord Rama, who's like an avatar of Vishnu, when he's in I'm talking about the Valmiki Ramayana, when he's searching for Ma Sita, there is a particular phase where he's feeling that stress because she is not there. So even he can feel stress, So what about us? Everybody will feel stress. You are born, you will feel stress. Important thing is to have that cognition ki, okay, I have made a mistake, I'll recover from it. And first and foremost, of all people, of all things, only the being to which you need to apologize first and foremost is to the Devata. Bas, ki I made a mistake, you confess and you apologize. And then you see that that's what I tell everybody, that you're, as an Upasaka, you start thinking like an Upasaka. Everything you put at the feet of the deity, everything you put at the feet of Bhairava, and he will pull you out from everything. He will teach you what needs to be taught, and then he will take you even higher. The good he will give, the bad he will give. And this sense, when it comes internally inside, deep inside, that becomes a like of oneness. You see that everything is his doing. He has become everything. Even a man like Sri Aurobindo, about whom I keep speaking so much, there's a beautiful episode in his life. He was a revolutionary, British time and all that. And then the British put a case on him and put him in jail. Okay, and whatever it is, again the specifics are irrelevant in my opinion. They put him in jail, and he was put in solitary confinement for months, 7, 8, 9 months. Okay, solitary confinement. Can you imagine? It's the toughest of all things. All he took was the Gita. Okay, full dark inside the room, in one room, no seeing the face of a person, nothing. Doesn't even know when he will come out. His family, his wife, his others, well-wishers, brothers, they went everywhere asking ki, how can this come out, etc. In that phase of confinement, Aurobindo Ghosh, the revolutionary, changed into Sri Aurobindo, the spiritual figure that we revere and worship and love so much today. Because in that phase of darkness, that phase of confinement, he changed himself. His sadhana went to from an ordinary level to an extraordinary level. To the extent, I mean, he was an exceptional man. I mean, we can't become like him. He reached a stage where he saw that everything around him was Krishna. He was a Krishna devotee at that time. Everything. The jail was Krishna, the bars were Krishna, the jailer was Krishna. And then at one point, he was even trying to. There was a lawyer who came to help him. There was a very good lawyer, one of the best lawyers of this time, to help his case. And there was still the human mind, that effort. So he's like trying to sit with the lawyer and find out which is the right legal angle to present and all that to the court. And then he gets in his meditation, Krishna telling him, no, you don't even think about that. All you do is you focus on me, the deity. So he gave up that also. And then when they went to the judge, they saw that it's a very interesting thing. The judge, the British judge who was there, he knew about Sri Aurobindo because he had passed out from the same college in London. And he had heard of Aurobindo as a very brilliant student. So the judge was a scholar of Sanskrit. Sri Aurobindo had studied various Western literatures and philosophies, very good with that. And Sri Aurobindo didn't say a single word. He just stood there. And then he was let go. And from that point onwards, he moved to Pondicherry and changed. The whole gist of what I'm trying to say is that there are moments of crisis that happen to people. And in that crisis, if you're an Upasaka, take it as a gift from God. It reduces your karma and it helps you grow faster and stronger and better Upasaka. That is the whole aim. Nothing stops. There is no end to anything. Dark and good and bad will anyway happen. Even if you don't do sadhana, then also people someday will be bad, someday will be good. We know that famous story of Lord Buddha when a woman came and asked him that my son has died. Can you bring him back to life? You say that you are the great, enlightened being. So Lord Buddha said that I can, but you do one thing. Find me one house. Give me one morsel of rice from a house where there has never been a death, and then I will do it. It's none. So everybody will suffer someday or the other. In what consciousness you suffer, your consciousness, how it processes that suffering, that pain, and transcends itself into something higher, better, more devoted, more focused on the deity, more surrendered to the deity. That's all the lesson that one has to learn. And he and Bhairava has the ability to change everything. He is Para Bhairava, is everything. Good, bad, day, night, everything.
So many things to say. Let's begin this next chapter with a sorry, Bhairav Baba.
Yes.
And move forward. That's the main sorry.
That's the primary thing. For an Upasaka, eventually, it's the deity, it's the Devata jinko aap poochte ho, the deity you're worshipping. He or she becomes everything.
Let's talk about life.
Yes.
As is the case with every episode that we do, there's got to be takeaways even beyond the spiritual realm for the audiences from our episodes.
Right.
You used to always tell me on a brotherly level that every human has a need for protection. And I never understood that. And I completely understand that now. I will let you talk about this aspect of protection in the course of the human journey in whatever way you deem fit.
Yeah. From the time I became famous, which was completely unplanned, and neither had I any specific desire for fame, by the way. When almost pretty much everybody who knew me, the people without agenda, there are some, alag baat hai, but most of them, I had no specific desire for fame. Things just happened very coincidentally and shot me up to fame. And then I realized that there are some interesting things with respect to fame. One of them is that even if suppose the things that I speak, my perception over the 3 years now is that good 80 to 90% of the people have a very positive outlook towards it and take it very positively, and it affects them in a positive manner.
You're saying audiences.
Audiences, okay, whether I'm speaking in your show or anywhere else, and it causes say 85 to 90% is a very, very positive response. And it is entirely because of the blessings of Ma Kamakhya, Matara, and Bhairav Baba that they do the sadhanas with faith and they see so many positive results. I mean, I could write books after books about it. I mean, I have 2 email IDs and there's a whole team. All they do is day in and day out keep processing the mails. Okay, so stories and stories and miraculous things happening. Somehow, some people think that I am doing nothing. My role is very limited. What came to me organically is an inspiration to speak. I spoke, and the raters did whatever. They use instruments, they get things done. But there is a 10% people who will be extremely jealous of you. That is the one key factor of somebody who comes in the public eye, and is always going to happen. And 10% is because I'm lucky in the sense that it is not so heavy. For other people, it could be more than 10, 20, 30%. In my case, or in some other cases also, these 10%, so 10% is a significant number when you are a public figure, kind of. Public figure, I mean that a lot of people know you across the land. Okay. And there will be a tremendous amount of jealousy, hate, envy. These are the three spaces from this comes. All this rest are just excuses. These are the real motivating emotions that bring it to them. Some of them may even be unstable emotionally, or that jealousy, because these things are jealousy, or these are emotions, negative emotions basically. So a person suffering from some kind of who's a little emotionally unstable, whose mind is not in grip of his or her emotions, and feels a certain degree of envy, may go to any extent to cause you harm. So that is where we have, and these are things from the text only. I'm saying nothing that I've invented. I never speak anything that is outside the texts. So there are things where they may try to do things like black magic, avichara, etc. You won't even know. Your face is everywhere. They can take a photo and start doing it. So these things are real. These things happen. And specifically, it happens the more you become famous. Uh, if destiny has made you famous and given you a purpose, then you follow the purpose, because destiny knows best why it has given you. It is not about your will or anything. It's about the will of the gods. They want you at a certain position, they have put you. But also, be practical so that you take enough precautions that these things cannot cause you harm eventually. So uh, from my perspective, I have at least 5-10% very strong enemies, and people close to me, they're well aware of those. So they are a little, the screw is off in their head, so they can go to any extent, I know, and they try also. It's there, but entirely entirely blessings of Bhairav Baba and blessings of Matara specifically, and Ma Kamakhya, that they keep me protected. And it is important to do some practices that help you to protect yourself.
Which is called Kavacham.
Kavacham is one part. It depends on the degree of perception of threat that you have.
What is Kavacham?
Kavacham is an armor, spiritual armor. Every deity has a Kavacham. Okay. So once you read the Kavacham, it forms like an aura around you. It protects you from any negative, whether it's a negative being or negative individual or negative thoughts. See, negative thoughts also affect. I mean, you don't have to actually sit and do rituals. If 10, 15 people really hate you and they constantly think that, okay, let him fall, something bad happens to him, let something bad happens to him, the accumulated thought force also is going to cause some impact on your life.
Nazar. What
we call it nazar, which we already know, for it's a common human knowledge. And this idea of nazar is not something that only Indians and Hindus have discovered. It's there across the world, right? The evil eye or whatever you call it. So it's a common lived experience of humanity. So therefore, whenever a person becomes very famous, and specifically you are also, at the other part is that you're also involved in some kind of, knowingly or unknowingly, some kind of activity that is helping dharma. For example, suppose people are doing Bhairavanama. Okay. Whether you consciously did anything or not is irrelevant. That so many people are getting attracted, they're having a positive experience, they're doing lakhs of japa every Ashtami Tithi. Some sadhanas are going on specifically for Bhairava, as well as other deities and different tithis. So you are consciously or unconsciously becoming an instrument of the gods for establishing some dharma in this world. Immediately there will also be some opposition from the negative forces, and negative forces did not suddenly, it's not like those mythological stories, they'll just appear in front of you and do something. They have the capacity to change the minds of people and cause them to attack you in some way or the other. And in order to protect oneself, therefore, kavacham is the first step. There are many other degrees of protection required. When I was traveling all this while for the Bhairava establishment of the Bhairava temples, looking at lands and all that, last 6 months have been very hectic for me. I hardly get time to spend at home. From Gujarat to South India to Tarapet and other places, etc. I met one sadhu in South India. It's very nice. I felt that he's a sannyasi, but he was very very interesting thing he said. So he was very positive and supportive. He said that the army of Bhairava needs to be built up in this country and there has to be temples. And he says, and then he made a very beautiful statement. I liked it very much. He said that, so don't ever think that you are important. Bhairava has many people like this. If you fail, he will put somebody else to do it. Job will be done. When it is his will that has said that it will be done, he has decided it will be done. Instruments are, an instrument is an instrument. You do it in that sense, and as long as the surrenderance is there, as long as this effort is there, as long as the strength is there, mental clarity is there, his support will always be there. So I really liked speaking to that sadhu, and he's a sannyasi, means he's completely given up life and other things. I found a very positive statement from him, and he could sense some things. He could sense even before meeting me. He told me a few things, and then he said that this is the will of Bhairava. It is going to happen. Nobody in the world can stop this. You are an instrument he has chosen because of Purvajanma samskaras, things you have done in your past life. But remember that he has many instruments. He will use whoever he needs to use to whatever degree. It is his will, and those 8 temples of Baba are going to come up, and they will become the foundation of Dharma for a very long time. Very long time.
You have locations in mind?
Some locations at this moment, though, uh, we are looking at some places in Tarapet in Bengal, and also south we have some locations. There's a team going there. Gujarat, we want to have, if possible, depending on other things and all that. The area around Girnar Parvat is very holy. It's beautiful. It's amazing.
The one thing I want to say is that this is mission number 1 for me also,
Yes,
to help you in this
fantastic.
process. So let's say this publicly,
Hmm.
that we'll attach some kind of a link
Hmm.
down below
Hmm.
under this podcast,
Hmm.
where anyone who wants to contribute to this cause can help us out. Maybe
Okay.
drop your contact details.
Yes.
And this project has already begun.
It's already begun. We are at the stage where architects, some people are helping us in designing. So I've given them some inputs that how exactly I want it, what are the number of deities that will be there, forms of Bhairava, and that's how that space should look, whether from the Vastu perspective or the placement of the Devatas, the Yagyashala there should be where homas can be done of the to the deities. There should be, if possible, there should be a water body, there should be a meditation space, things like that. So eventually there should be a Goshala, because you'll need milk and ghee and other things for the abhishekam of the deities and things like that. So the architects are working on this. Once the model is out, I will be putting up in public, of course, and I will, of course, have to make an appeal for funds, because this is a huge project, and it cannot be done without the support of people.
Um, this episode is almost done with.
Yes.
One last section. What do you want me to learn from this chapter?
Since I deal more with my, whatever I speak or whatever I deal is mostly from the spiritual perspective, so I'm talking to people who do sadhana, because they are the ones who get attracted to these podcasts or any other things we do. So remember one thing, that life will have troubles or the other, sometime or the other. It's impossible that you will never have troubles. I mean, even if you do something like the, as I say North India, the Hanuman Chalisa is so popular. There is nobody perhaps who doesn't do the Hanuman Chalisa. You do for years and years. Can you show me one individual who says that I have never ever faced any difficulty, whether it's health issue, job issue, marriage, relationship, money, something, strange things? It is going to happen, because these are proud of this. We have done things. The deities are not going to make your life completely without any kind of issues ever. That is not why this earth was created. This earth was created so that you go through the processes. You go through the night and you go through the day, and the night will make you stronger. The pain will make you reinvent yourself, because the human condition is not perfect. So our aim through sadhana is that we become closer and closer to the deity. In order to become closer to the deity, we have to shed ourselves things that we don't need, change our consciousness, change the thinking process, and that automatically will reflect in the depth of sadhana. When you are enjoying the sadhana, when your sadhana is going good, automatically there is a blessing, and they will, when they decide, when the gods decide ki chalo bhi bahut ho gaya, we need to put this person in a higher pedestal in sadhana, they are going to cause some pain so that you go even higher indirectly. There's not that they're going to come and cause anything like that. And this is a thing every upasaka in some point of the life or the other will feel. If you have not felt this ever, that means perhaps the deity is not even, this is not your lifetime for it. I give this advice to people whom I guide very closely. I have a group of people, who help me out in my day-to-day this foundation activities and other things. So I tell them that there is this movie I like. This I'd seen long back, Fight Club. I remember that movie, and there's a specific scene in that movie where there are two people who are fighting, and there's one stronger guy who throws the younger guy down, the weaker guy, and keeps hitting him. And the guy, it's of course painful, but he starts laughing. After some time, this guy who's stronger, he gets psyched out. What is happening? Why is he not, getting down? Why is he not finished yet? And why is he laughing at this? I find this very peculiar and very interesting scene. So I tell people that life, and whole life is sadhana, by the way. Once you broaden your mind, you see that every smallest of activities is sadhana. Take that attitude of the fighter who says that I am never going to, you can throw me down, but I am never going to get out of the ring. Okay. There is not one chance when I will not get back up again and still fight. Once you remove completely the question of that I am going to quit, remove that from the mind. Say that doesn't matter how long it takes, 1 lifetime, 2 lifetime, 3 lifetime. Remove the whole point of agenda of time frame that I need to get it. No, forget the time frame. That is nature's job. That is the job of Mahakal Baba. Nature, he's the only one who knows what time. And your job is that I will give my 110% of the work. Even if I fall down, doesn't matter. Even if I get hit, doesn't matter. I am in the ring like a battlefield. Even the best of warriors will get hit sometime or the other, because that is the nature of the sport. But that spirit, the spirit never. Every time I fall down, I'll start up and fight again. Fight. Then you will see Bhairava, how he loves you. Then you will see Ma Kali, how she loves you. She loves fighters. She loves people who can fight. That is why we call her the mother of the Veeras. The whole point of Veera means it is not that you will not get hit. You will take a hit, you will absorb it. It will not corrupt your soul. It will not bring you down into bitterness and jealousy about life, or bitterness hota hai. Some people souls are like this. They can't take the pain, and it turns into bitterness about it. No, it's an opportunity for you to rise even higher. She hits you so that you can come higher. Those people, nobody can take success away from them. Nature guarantees success to a person who says that I'm not going to quit.
I'm really trying to hold back from saying this, but I have to say it. Pandya mentality. But let's move forward.
In life, there will be stresses, there will be difficult times, but don't imagine that you cannot get out of the difficult time. More importantly, each difficult time is a test of a commitment to the deity. The stronger the commitment, the stronger you will be pulled out of it. Do not, if you are too scared, if you have this, some people have this fearful mentality initially when they're doing sadhana कि मेरा कुछ खराब हो गया etc. हो गया. अगर इतना डर लगता है तो तुमसे नहीं हो पाएगा. The world, even if you don't do sadhana, someday or the other some bad thing will happen. It is the way of the world is. But every difficulty is an opportunity to deepen your contact with the deity. And that itself is the most fulfilling thing. The ultimate aim of sadhana is that you feel blissful inside. You feel contact with the deity at all times. Doesn't matter what is going to happen. There are so many great saints we know of, different sampradayas. Vaishnava saints, worshipper of Shiva, worshipper of Durga, Ma Durga, anybody passed through such difficult times. But what is common among them is that the consciousness becomes so tuned to the deity that they don't care about the outside. Inside you are in a state of bliss. You're in a state of contact. So this itself should be looked at as a lesson for people, that you, whenever difficulties come, you increase your sadhana. That is the rule number 1. Difficulty means increase your sadhana. It's at the end of the day, your own karma is burning off. And your karma is burning off, your path will become smoother the more sadhana you do.
What's next for the show in your eyes? Like, again, as I told you, in this whole phase, I've only been recording with people who I have an actual human relationship with.
Yeah.
Um, you guys are responsible for the growth of this show as much as I am, in my eyes. What would you like to see next?
You should look at it as something that let's create something that is of value to society, not just for now, for years and years and decades. Because the internet is not going anywhere. Once you put out something on the internet, it's going to last. This is the reality of modern world and going ahead also. So you look at it as, how do I create something of value? Something that is so pure, as an offering to the deities, as an offering to the, to the spiritual journey that you are in, to dharma, in that sense, to Bhairava. Let's be very clear, as an offering to Lord Bhairava, that it is of value even long, long time later, when neither you nor me are there, but still people will see that and get inspired. And that is going to happen. In order to do that, in order to purify oneself, they will do what needs to be done. You look at yourself and the show as an instrument of awakening certain spiritual tendencies and spiritual practices among people. There is nothing greater than that.
Yeah. Okay. Jai Bhairav Baba.
Jai Bhairav Baba. Jai Bhairav.
Jai Ma Kamakhya.
Jai Ma Kamakhya.
Jai
Jai
Ma
Ma Tara.
Thank you. Rebirth begins now.
Rebirth. Correct.
Thank you, sir.